One, two, 1, 2. Is this mic working? Mic check. All right, Chi. Got a notification. Yeah, we're on live. Finally. Are y'all still playing movies tonight? Is it still rocking and rolling over on Rumble for you? Chiro sounds. Yeah, we got our good friend Chi in the house so far. Chiro sounds. Chi, do you ever share your link to your channel here? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. Anyway, you should, because we're gonna talk a little music here. Yay, no mute. I just seen mute right now. I'm like, oh no, am I muted? You made me look down. Made my heart skip there. What's up, Jeff? Right on, people being notified. Yeah, Friday night, Los Angeles. You know it's going down. Stringers are out. AXN News just left the scene right now. Some sort of vehicle and some yeah, knives being used out there at the moment. Not good. Had a speed chase earlier, a quick one. Yeah, I think it was a woman driver in a Jeep. And we were broadcasting that from the shop. And yeah, there was a couple more that weren't televised. I did get notifications of those. And last night, there was a heavy one. Yeah, no worries, Jeff. You do your thing, bro. We're going to be hanging out here. You have a blessed night at work. Be safe. And tune in later if you'd like. I'm not sure where this ship is going. I have an idea. We're going to do the best to guide us through. We got into a shipwreck last time. Stream crashed. And I couldn't find the video on. Usually the software I'm using will upload it to YouTube. And I couldn't find it on YouTube. It was weird. I was like, oh man, last time that happened, and it was the same thing. I was pulling up Google Earth and it crashed. What's up, girl? How was movie night? Would you all check out something? Was it The Abominable Snowman or some sort of Yeti movie? Was it? I missed it. Yeah, they're watching something squatchy over there on Rumble. And do you know how to share your Rumble link? They make it really difficult. I forget. It took me a while to figure that out. Yeah, we got Hillbilly Herb in the house. What's up, Hillbilly? What are we lighting tonight? Speaking of lighting, fires. I just seen a fire at a San Diego. 5% contained. I forget the name of it. I think it's like 200 acres or something like that. And also up north, fires are starting to spark up in different places. I heard Heidi Pop mention about prescribed burns in certain areas, which is, yeah, I guess a good thing also, right? To help prevent fires from going further and stuff like that. That type of work needs to be done. And we did stream a fire yesterday at a Fraser Park area, Southern California. Kern County, and I didn't get any further updates on that. It was Dad's gone live on YouTube with streaming that. We're restreaming his stream. Yeah, we've been doing that lately. We're restreaming streamers, stringers streaming, and we're restreaming. And of course, Smoke and Scan, the king of restreaming, is out there. We had a what was it? The sheriff's department from, is it Aurora? Yeah, I believe Aurora County. I think it's Minnesota. They go live. They got a YouTube channel. And yeah, they were on live. They're still live on now, actually. Took a little ride with them a few days ago. That was fun. But yeah, Smoking Scan started off with that, and but AXN is on now, and Damon from Smoking Scan. So when you hear Damon, that's where I'll be referring to. But yeah, he hasn't had AXN on yet, but he usually does. And I notice he's also featured some of the airplane, those airport runway videos. I noticed Smoke and Scan showing those too. So I was like, oh, cool, man. That's super cool. Um, and so yeah, salute to him. And yeah, news. So yeah, quite a bit of news out here. I try not to overwhelm y'all. Of course, the high speed chases are always it could be very intense at most of the time, especially when they're fast, and gets dangerous and deadly at times. So yeah, it's really not fun stuff, but it's a thing out here. We're all aware of that, becoming more aware, and it's still, to me, it's surprising, shocking when it happens, and a lot of us follow it out here. And earlier we had a short one, didn't get too much detail on it. It was a stolen vehicle, GTA. And then last night, so AXN News, a stringer who's streaming at the moment. Maybe we'll take a look if they pull up to something interesting. Last night, so Boyle Heights, the smoke shop we have, sky's the limit smoke shop. Yeah, gonna put that out there. Some people don't know, but yeah, so we're borderline East Los Angeles and Boyle Heights, and last night, so Boyle Heights always got all types of stuff going on too, just like East LA. But yeah, East LA the other night had a speed chase. And a lot of them happen overnight, so the news choppers aren't on it. Yeah, it was a truck, and it was like rolling on rims. So it was sparks all over the place. It was wild. And then this weekend also, there was a couple of fatal ones that were just gnarly. And I didn't even bother showing those. Smoking Scan even missed some of those, and I think he replayed them, which is, I thought of doing that too, but yeah, just wild, wild stuff. I'm sure you could look them up if you're really interested. But last night, AXN was out. I was up late last night. Must have been like 3 something in the morning. And yeah, he pulls up to a scene, and it's a man laid out shirtless, and they're already kind of like doing work on him. And there's like, it was bad. He wasn't looking good. And people were in the chat are, guessing what's happening and all this stuff. It's just high intense moment going on there. And so anyway, yeah, the guy ended up passing on the spot there. There was paramedics ready to go and everything. They didn't even bother with that. It was all bad news, but apparently from what we were learning the information, um the guy had an accident down the block and then ran up the block, and then police were already chasing him, so it was a speed chase. And yeah, so he passes, and then AXM pulls up to the crash scene, and it's between two main intersections, which is not far from the shop. Actually, it's on Soto Street, which is a main street, Soto, and Washington. And it happened to be a Aston Martin vehicle. Anyone familiar with the Aston Martin? I'm into cars, not hardcore, but I'm sure the car dudes know the Aston Martin. And it was just like it was a mess, and no one really knew. I didn't really hear much, but I guess the news did report on it, and we could take a look and find out what happened. I'm interested to find out what happened there because yeah, it was just looked like some weird bags in the back of the car, and fancy car. And who was that? What was going on there? There's quite a bit of talk in the chat, and we could peep that out. Greetings, Amanda. Welcome on in. We're gonna be hanging out here for a bit. Mojo, welcome. All right, we got some people hanging out. Just a heads up, we're gonna be, I think, up for a little while here. So grab your snacks, grab your pets, grab whatever you need. We're gonna kick back here and feel free to flow in and out. Whatever you got to do, tap into the chat, surf the YouTube waves. I recommend it. Why not? It's Friday night, and hopefully everyone's feeling good and having a good start to your weekend. Yeah, we got AXN already pulling up to another scene. So seems to be an active night. But yeah, let's check out this news reel about this situation. And yeah, I don't know. It's just growing up in LA, growing up in Hollywood, there was always, every weekend you could guarantee the choppers coming around. And at the time, there was most of the time growing up there, they had the cruising, what we call cruising, and people do it differently now. Now they have full on street takeovers, which is wild and lawless, dangerous as well. Those get deadly also. It's just like the other night, AXN were covering that warehouse party that got way out of control. And it's the street takeover is the same thing. So a bunch of cars, a lot of times it's muscle cars and stuff like that, and a group of young people out there, and they'll take over certain streets, and it gets wild. And they start, doing the donuts and stuff like that. And people, there's a lot of videos out there, people getting hurt, run over. There was a situation recently with a lot of pew pewings going on at those events like that. So yeah, I stay away from stuff like that. But and I get it, seems fun and everything, but yeah, now when the dangerous stuff starts happening, it's not cool. And you can imagine, there's probably alcohol and other stuff going on. So yeah, no, no street takeovers for me. I'm good on that. 007 car. And we'd actually get that stuff up on the hill too. So when I say up on the hill, I'm talking about up north, Northern California. Um, and we're gonna head up that way hopefully later tonight. Yeah, there would be, the tire marks and stuff. And up there is like dudes in their trucks, got, tires to burn. And yeah, there would be certain areas, and it's like a 2-lane road in the middle of nowhere. And I guess, I get it. There's nothing to do. Just like out here, they probably have nothing else to do. There is other things to do. Come on. And yeah, you get a lot of that action like that out there too. Luckily, never ran into those folks doing that type of stuff. Wouldn't want to disturb their party. But yeah, we've talked about the torching of cars. Yeah, they would do that a lot up there too. Like if you were to get stuck for some reason in your car, and then it would happen. People going up and down the hill, whatever, the car would mess up and they'd have to leave it on the side of the road for a bit. Some people would leave it a lot longer, and yeah, you leave it too long, and before you know it, your windows are broken, and then yeah, they'll set it on fire, which is highly dangerous too, because up there, high fire dangers. We're talking about fires earlier. Um, yeah, I remember, at times we'd be up on the hill, pulling up to, for drop off our son to go to school, and right in this particular area, it's a pull out area. And you'd get there and there'd be like a car on fire. Yeah, I've shared some gnarly pictures and videos and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Emerald Triangle. Um, there's Juliana. Juliana knows what's up. Glad you stepped in and got the notification, Juliana. And I got your message earlier about not getting the one with the speed chase. It was a quickie anyway. Uh so yeah, the video from last night that crashed, I re-uploaded it, and yeah, hopefully no crashing tonight. And if it does, hey, we'll try to get back up and get the stream going, because I want to get this out. Got some news, quite a bit of news. So yeah, let's check out that article or the newsreel on that chase and crash situation. And yeah, it being really close to the shop, I was interested in. And yeah, it happened late at night, and there was no coverage on that one. No news. Let's see here. Where'd you go? Yeah, there's some music. I want to talk a little music. Chiro Sounds got a channel where she plays a lot of music. There's a new album out also by one of my favorite artists. I've been sharing some of his music on the posts. We'll get into a little bit of that too. Yeah, talk some music also. We chop it up here, talk about all types of everything and just about anything. So let's see. We are looking for. Here we go. So there it is. Chase suspect dies after crashing into light pole in Boyle Heights, authorities say. So let's peep this. Oh, yeah, you see, Amanda? They be doing that was that up in Chico? Yeah, I would imagine Bay Area, they're known for that as well. The ghost riding also that they call it too. They let the cars drift on their own. Yeah, no driver. Wild. So ABC 7, let's see here. Yeah, hopefully this reel is on the topic here. Here we go.
A pursuit, a crash, a foot chase, a high-speed pursuit in East LA also comes to a tragic end.
The suspect died suddenly in police custody. Now investigators are trying to figure out what sparked it all and what was inside.
And I was hearing that supposedly pausing. So when you're doing shares like this, that the pausing is a myth. And I had read somewhere, I think it was like, might have been in the guidelines or something like that, about pausing and stuff like that. But a big YouTube channel and he does like a reaction videos, and did a video on talking about all that stuff. Was saying that it's a myth, and it was weird, and I kind of believe it. And it was interesting what he had to say about that, but I'm still doing it anyway, just in case. You never know.
That car. Eyewitness News reporter Shayla Girardin has the dramatic story.
A police pursuit in East LA taking a deadly turn this morning. It all started around 3:15 this morning at Indiana and Gleason. Police say the suspect was driving at extremely fast speeds.
Very dangerous, very high rate of speed, so much so that they initially put this out as an attempt to overtake the vehicle because it was going so fast.
CHP called off.
Overtake the vehicle. Like, I wonder what it means. What does it mean that? What did that mean to you by that?
The pursuit, but caught the suspect shortly after when he crashed into this light pole. The crash occurred at Washington and Soto. The suspect took off on foot, but CHP was close behind.
There was a small amount of force that was used in the form of possibly a tackle to take the driver into custody, and he was placed into handcuffs.
Shortly after.
Yeah, you see he was shirtless there. They did show him. Yeah, I wonder if AXN, that might have been this might be looks like AXN's footage here. Oh no, well, let's see, it says KNN News. I see at the top right there. Could have been there was other stringers there with him. But I know he does, I think he sells his footage to
After the suspect had a medical emergency. First responders were seen working on the suspect, but he died at the scene. We know the suspect was an adult male in his 30s, but what he was doing at the time of the pursuit is unclear.
We don't know why this driver was going at a high rate of speed, where he was going, where he was coming from. And at this time, it's
people were guessing in the chat because he was shirtless and stuff that maybe he was under the influence of something.
going to be a lengthy investigation.
You can see a safe, trash bags, and several packages inside the car. The car was not reported stolen, but was registered in Irvine. As for what's inside the vehicle, that is still the big question. Police tell us they are waiting for a search warrant so that they can go ahead and look inside the car. For now, in Boyle Heights, Shayla Girardin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
There's that. And where'd that go here? Let's just tap back in over here. What up, Diesel? Just checking out some news last night. Some stuff going down not too far from the shop there. And yeah, just some speed chase stuff. And yeah, pretty wild. It's safe in the trunk there, it looked like, and some bags. Wonder if they'll release any more information on that. And the guy passing, yeah, it's pretty weird. And the chat was, there was some really rude people in the chat too. I mean, as this man is transitioning out of this world, there's people just saying, of course, some positive stuff. People prayers, sending out prayers. I feel most of us are on that vibe, but yeah, some people are just complete opposite, and it's just sad to see. Anyway, yeah, wild stuff there. And speaking of wild stuff, also last night I think Chiro Sounds was there. And we were over at what up, Woo Reezy? Anybody else step in the building? Welcome. There was Squatch and Holler. Y'all know Squatch and Holler YouTube channel. And he was doing a live. I don't know if he was with his son or a friend. Sounded like a younger guy. And they're out of Tennessee. And so it was late night for them out there. It was pretty late here on the West Coast, so out east, I could only imagine 3 hours ahead. But they were cruising around, and luckily they had a service most of the way, so they were live streaming. We were kicking back over there, and at one point, they were on for quite a while. I think they did a couple streams. We hit a deer. Yeah, it was the gnarliest thing. I was like, I've never hit a deer before. Have had close calls, have been around them a whole lot, up on the hill, down the hill too. Uh, Deer all the time. A lot of times when you see one cross the road, like being on Highway 101 or something, it's very dangerous. And I was, one of those things I learned living out in the country is that you don't stop, right? Or swerve. Um, and also that's why I got one of them bumpers on my rig. In Spanish, those bumpers, they call them tumbaburros, in some circles. And that means like how could you say donkey knocker? I guess you could translate that too. And it's pretty funny. Yep. Not the goat knocker, donkey knocker. Yeah. And yeah, you gotta have one of those because you never know what might pop up on the road there like that. But yeah, they caught that on the live stream, and we made light of it because it was just a weird situation. I thought it was pretty weird. Um who knows, bro? I don't know. The deer, maybe, or was it a not deer? Y'all know the not deer. So yeah, let me tell you, the not deer I hear, or known as the spicy deer, and not spicy because there's like hot sauce on it, but yeah, they say it looks like a deer, but it's not. It'll have something deformed or something weird about it. I've seen some weird videos out there that pretty trippy, gnarly if they are real videos, and they look pretty legit. Yeah, one was like a deer with its neck all like twisted up and it jumped out of a bush. The guy was recording, if I remember correctly, and this thing jumped out of the bush or something like that. It was crazy. But yeah, are there not deers out there? And that whole not deer thing made me think of that whole the what do they call it? Chronic CWD, the yeah, that weird stuff that the deer get infected with, and I guess other, how would you say, ungulates and stuff like that. Fauna. And where is there we go. Chronic wasting disease. Ugh. Weird. Yeah, where'd that come from? And I hear it's like a spreading quickly throughout states, and that it could spread to other animals and possibly us and stuff like that. It's if true, is scary. Cause yeah, where are you gonna get your food from? And the Chiro sounds, yeah, right. He hit a deer. He's pretty casual about it too. I don't know if I would have stopped either. We kept rolling. And I didn't see much from you after that, Cheese. So I don't know if that kind of bummed you out or not. And I know, we're making light of it in chat because yeah, we didn't want to get all sad. And it might have been a was it a baby deer? It wasn't a big old buck or anything. It wasn't an 8-pointer or anything like that. I didn't see any antlers. I think the antlers probably would have popped the tire, would have done some damage there. But yeah, it happens, it happens. You hear about it. Trying to think if I have any stories like that from maybe someone else I know hitting a deer. But yeah, I've seen, again, like most wildlife I've seen, a lot of it has been on the road, crossing the road, and that's what they say about the Sasquatches, right? Most people see them near or crossing roads. And yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because yeah, the like mountain lions I've seen two, one I recorded on FLIR. We've shared that. That's like my my pride and joy there, and it was a small one. But then when I look at channels like Parliament of Owls, which is I featured another video of theirs on my posts. and I should say another video of his. What's his name? I think last name is Martinez, and super cool. Martinez, what you're doing over there, he's documenting a lot of the wildlife here up in the Angeles National Forest. And my goodness, does he get stuff like mountain lions like nothing. And it's just amazing to see that all these cats, and I've known about the cats. We've talked about the cats around here in California. There's these local ones, one very famous that recently passed away, P22, that I always talk about. And it's interesting. And did I bring this up last time? I'm reminding myself now. Also, whoops. I thought I put the volume down for me to clear my throat there, but I put the music down. Anyway, P22, the mountain lion. Interesting. So let's do a little breakdown of this. So it's a lion. So the lion, could represent what? Sun and other things. Do the breakdown of the lion. Leo, think of Leo. What else? Lion of Judah, man. Yes, I. Yeah, other things come up, right? With the lion. And then this particular lion was named P22. And anyone, does it ring a bell? Should we ring some cowbell? Where's the cowbell? We do got some cowbell lined up here. Oh yeah. P22, the lodge. Yeah. Masonic Lodge, P22. Yeah, who is it? Who used to get into that quite a bit is what's his name? Italiano. He's Italian. Downloading file. What up, Justin? My brother was walking through a national park here in Arizona a few years back. Him and his buddy heard a clear as day, a very fake sounding baby crying. Yep, the baby crying's been coming up quite a bit. And the park was absolutely abandoned. Skinwalker. Oof. Skinwalker. Hope not, man. But yeah, we've heard about the baby crying. And actually, baby crying reminds me of a clip that was shared with me from someone locally up north. And Eric, good friend Eric, kind of hooked me up with that. But this particular clip from this person, there was some audio that sounded like baby crying, and there's some other footage to go with it. But Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization YouTube channel, they're on X and other platforms, I believe, TikTok. They put out, quite a bit of stuff, and they got a hold of those clips and audio and were able to put it out several. I think it's been about a couple months already. But I'm still working on that, and gonna do my little version because there's some stuff that I heard during those clips that weren't pointed out. So maybe we could point those things out and try to pick anything else we can from that video and audio. But yeah, no, we've heard that before, and then we've heard of guys call blasting baby sounds, which is super creepy. And yeah, I've heard also from the guys when they do that, they're creeped out when they do those sounds out in the field. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about call blasting baby sounds. Who knows what you might attract with that one? Because yeah, what if it is a Sasquatch and it's just like trying to help a baby, and then it's a bunch of Bigfooters, like fool the Sasquatch. Sasquatch gonna be pissed after that. Let me tell you, it's not gonna like that one. I don't think. Ah, let's see. Hadley, what up? Welcome in. There's an animal. I think it's a bird that sounds like a baby crying. I think otter does too. Interesting. Yeah, no, and I thought about that about other animals. What's yeah, animals make weird sounds, and a lot of things could sound like other things at first. Let's see, redheaded black belt notification there in California. You'll call in bears or cats, maybe wolves at this point. Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of. I just seen a newsreel on the wolves situation here in California too. So they're out and about, but they're little. I guess I don't know what I picked up from it is like they're little like I guess worried. Do I want to say, but that they don't want it. They don't want them to like eat everything else because they could. And so, yeah, a lot of wolves being, I guess, what's the deal with the wolves, Juliana? I had played a reel a little while back also, but they're bringing them back into their populations are growing quite a bit now in Northern California. Seen one up by Crater Lake, Oregon, my only wolf I've ever seen on the wild. And that one was on the side of the road as well. Yeah, there's certain animals that people like. I'm like, wow, wolf, and like people that are from areas that are probably used to them. I know some of you have them as pets. And there's Juanito. Juanito got called Sweet Cheeks earlier. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Stupid phone. I'll call myself out on that one. It was weird, Juanito. My apologies. But me and Blazer were having a field day with that one. So if anyone's seen something about Sweet Cheeks over on Heidi Pop's chat, that's what that was about. But yeah, a little there, buddy. No, never that. Anyway, we got a commercial here. Damn it. And the homie Rid's in the house. What up, brother? Yeah, so the homie Rid right here. Let's see where you at, bro, up in the chat. Yeah, welcome in. Glad you caught me live, bro. Rid, I usually see over on AXN YouTube channels chat. And yeah, I told him about the shop. So he's gonna drop by the shop at some point. Come through, present yourself, man. And we could chop it up live. And it's super cool when we meet people like that through the YouTube or other platforms. Shaking your head, Juanito. Puma was the biggest I saw. Whoa, in the wild, Hadley? Where were you? We talked about the black cats I've seen. These were wild cats, Trinity County, heading up the hill. Oregon Street, right there, right above Weaverville. And on two occasions, and the queen was with me even. So I had witness. And yeah, we've seen these wild black cats, and there's residential areas. Yeah, so there's, I'm sure, cats, domestic cats around. But yeah, down the hill from there is a trail. And yeah, no, they said be careful with the mountain lions down there. If they're down there, I'm sure they could be right up the hill too. And they are. But yeah, these little look like black mountain lions. And I've heard the reports also of the black cats. Here, where I was DJing the music here, and finally we hit commercials. Dang it. It's all good. At least the track will switch up there. Yeah. So where are we going? Wild animals. Let's see. Wild Humans. So Parliament of Owls, yeah, getting a lot of great captures, and yeah, just he just knows where to put his cameras, which is something good to know. And I do want to ask him if he's got to have like his X files of weird pictures and anomalies. I would imagine, with all the amazing pictures of wildlife he's getting, he's got to get some of the weird stuff up in there. What's Juanito saying? All right. So he owes us a story. I hope he's talking to us there. All right. Let's see what track is pulled up. And so, yeah, Carl Casey tracks playing in the back there. What else? News. Let me make sure I covered all the. So new album out. One of my favorite artists, talking Carl Casey, and these tracks were playing out. So new album release, and I feel like I'm in high school again, because I remember high school. I collected a lot of vinyl. I don't buy it anymore, but yeah, no, that was my thing. After high school, take the bus, Hollywood High, take it to the other side of Hollywood, and there was Fat Beats, which was like the underground hip hop stop for vinyl. And the Beastie Boys actually had a store next to it, extra large. And there's a bunch of other cool stores on that street there, but yeah, Fat Beats. And yeah, just the and y'all remember, the old school crowd buying records and stuff. And that's what I mean by vinyl. But back in the day, it was tangible, physical, it had a cover, and it was cool, right? And so, yeah, that feeling of buying something like that every time I go shopping for records and stuff, uh, I kind of feel like that now that Aesop, even though I don't have a physical copy or anything like that yet, um, and I would actually buy. I haven't bought music in a long time, really, and luckily through DJ Cuber, which will show again, we've been showing his website and everything. He's made it for the digital heads. You could download free music, so that's what I've been using. A lot of the beats and stuff I've been scratching and practicing to was free through DJ Cuber. And last night again, DJ Cuber, where he was a live stream. He does these random lives, and he's in the studio with the turntables and just cutting it up, and then also showing his channel is also showing DJs, other people who want to learn how to scratch and DJ and stuff. He's doing that, and especially in his shorts. In the shorts is super cool. He's got all these different weird characters, and they show you how to do scratches and stuff. So the free digital downloads. Last night we were hanging till like 4 in the morning, probably even a little later. DJ Cubert was live, and so we're all hanging out in the chat, chopping it up, having fun, learning. And he mentioned about the digital vinyl, and of course we've also been talking about the fidget fader a whole lot. And there's a new series coming out with Scratchy Seal. Scratchy Seal is a DJ. And yeah, he's an actual seal. And so they're doing the Scratchy Seal fidget faders release. I think they're out this weekend, possibly. And those things sell out quick. They had a platinum, I think, edition. Those all sold out recently. I got this glow in the dark one. And then so the free digital downloads is not going to last much longer. He was mentioning last night. And so I was like, oh, shoot, we got to hurry up and download whatever we can. And he was saying it, download whatever you can, because he doesn't know how much longer he's going to keep that up. And so if anyone's interested in checking out or making some downloads, you check out djcuber.com and get your downloads while you can. And yeah, you could also find a bunch of scratch records, beat breaks, everything for your DJ needs over here. And here, up here, you can see digital. You just click on the digital part there. And then over, let's see. When you go on digital, you'll see on the left side, hopefully it's popping up there. Let's see. Come on, stay on there. There we go. You see free downloads right over here. Hopefully that's showing on your end. And then also he's got a few little ringtones, a bunch of other rad stuff. And don't forget that DJing, like it's turntablism. Super cool because I mean, it's not just like hip hop music. They use all types of music. And the DJ, I like someone explained the other day, the DJ, it reminded them like of jazz musicians also, that you're pretty much like innovating on the spot. You're almost like how would you describe it? I forget how they described it, but it was super cool. It's just like basically you're live on the spot, is improvising. Yeah, just using. There's no set. Like a lot of times there's sets. Guys have sets and routines and stuff, but a lot of times when you're just letting it flow, it's just like any other instrument. So rad stuff. So Aesop Rock drops an album. Album's out, dropped today. They premiered the album, and super excited about it. Again, one of my favorite. This is like hardcore underground hip hop. Aesop Rock's been around for a long time. Don't get it confused with Aesop Rocky, who I'm not really a fan of. And it's funny that they would come out with that name. The industry will do stuff like that. I think, there's the underground Aesop Rock, and of course they had to bring out someone with like a similar name on the mainstream. I don't know. I kind of felt like that, but no, the two have met, and yeah, it was all good, all love. And yeah, I would have thought there would have been some weird, like, because a lot of times in the graffiti world, if your names are similar or there's some sort of similarity between names, a lot of times that'll be beef, and it's kind of weird like that in the hip hop arena or circuit. So yeah, Aesop Rock, let's check that out really quick. And I'm telling you, this type of music is Aesop's music is for everyone. If you listen to his voice, it's just so different. His voice, his delivery, the words that he uses. If you could make out what he's describing or talking about, it's super awesome. It could be funny at times, and a lot of times you can feel it too. Like it'll connect with you, and you could be any age. He is an older, probably in his, I wouldn't want to guess, but he's matured quite a bit. So rad artist, and we'll share out his YouTube channel here. You want to know Aesop Rock? And so new album. There it is. The Black Hole. How would you pronounce that? Supere. And so it's super cool. It's themed. The theme seems to be this black hole, little supermarket. And so for the most part, most of the tracks, they've dropped some visuals with it, but most of the visuals is being inside the store, and it's like these products and stuff. It's funny. But full album is also released. I believe, on his channel there. If not, it's gonna be over at Rhyme Sayers Entertainment. But let's have a look here. Yeah, the full album's gonna be over at Rhyme Sayers. So he's got to put some of the singles here. Oh, here we go. The full album is here. And this is it. So if you want to check out the full album, go give Aesop Rock a follow there. And even for country folk, there's a lot of stuff he's done related to the country, even though he's from the concrete jungles of New York. And then what else on the music front? Trying to make sure I don't forget anything. So yeah, a little music talk there. And yeah, I wanted to mention also about Qbert. Yeah, a lot of times DJs or artists, I guess in anything, a lot of times it comes. I want to say most of the time it comes back to the human factor of stuff. That there's this competition and yeah, you don't want to give up certain secrets and who knows this and who knows that and yeah, and you use that to your advantage and stuff, right? Whether you're battling, there's always a lot of battling between like artists and crews and stuff, whether you're breakdancing or doing graffiti, even DJ battling, MCing, it's always a battle. And so there's always a lot of ego, a lot of stuff like that, with artists and stuff. But DJ Cuber, actually, man, he's amazing. Again, we're chopping it up on the live stream last night, and yeah, he's just super humble. And he talks a lot of the stuff we talk about and the stuff that we're learning these days about, the energies. He got into, he's big on the UFOs, and we talked about all those different breaks that he named. So I recently downloaded the Lemuria breaks. Yeah, they got Lemuria breaks. They have the Tartarian breaks, the Bigfoot breaks, and you name it. And the breaks are basically what do you call it? Beats for you to do your thing. Yeah. All right. Little music talk there. Let me get back into some more news, California news. We're gonna head up north. I'm always checking the news up that way. I've shared some of my sources that I like to tap into for my news, as well as, of course, word on the street. Talking to locals, people, friends, and stuff like that is the other way I get. Is you get the grapevine juice, and yeah, I don't know, just living up north. I've explained quite a bit how different it was than obviously down here. And of course, my heart is up there. Love it. Can't wait to get back. And yeah, we're almost we're at the end of the month here now, right? Are we? Is it a new month here? Uh yeah, tomorrow, I think. So that means we're already, getting into summer, and it's just about that time. I mean, I can't believe it's about to be a year already since we did the trip up north up to Bluff Creek. And so it's about that time again. I'm just like, darn. And it always kind of pads out for me like that. I always want to be able to go up there as comfortable as possible, like, have everything set, ready to go. But right now, I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to make it, but it's going to happen, and it's like that every year. Even when I lived up there, being just in Southern Humboldt, it's like what, maybe almost still a 2-hour drive, I would say, to get to the Patterson to Bluff Creek. Um, So still a far distance being in Humboldt County. So imagine from down here, it's a mission. And yeah, I don't know how it happens, but it happens. And like yeah, at the moment I've been sharing about, yeah, it's about time to get some new tires and a few other things. I need to do some things to my rig to get it ready for the road if that were to happen. And then yeah, I shared the gas prices but that particular gas station is you go to the post, you'll see some of the gas prices out here. It'll blow your mind. And Juliana had responded to that post there too. I guess the gas prices are pretty high up that way too on the coast. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And there's been talks already with some of the guys that we go up there with and some other folks, and so some things are brewing. And yeah, it'd be super rad to make it happen for 2025. I gotta go stop by Juliana's. Yep. I know exactly where she lives. And actually, I've been to her neighbors. I've hung out at her neighbors. Trip out. See, just stuff like that, even, it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. So there's a lot of little stories that I could share about up that way down here, or just connections that I've had. And I love sharing stuff like that. And a lot of it could it's on the dark side of stuff too. There's a lot of strange things that have happened as far as, like, true crime. We've been getting into the true crime and stuff like that, around California, Northern California, focusing on the Emerald Triangle also, which has a whole lot of stuff we've gotten into. And we'll do a little bit of some reminders of things. And so checking out Redheaded Black Belt, one of the news sources I tap into for the North Coast news, and also Lost Coast Outpost. And so I was checking it out yesterday, and I seen an article that really got my attention because we had just spoken about it, I believe, on one of the streams. There was two streams. Of course, I think that was one of the streams that I had to split into two because it crashed. And that was I titled it True Crime in Bigfoot Country. And we're talking 45s records. um and so there was a particular case that I know I mentioned, but I don't think we did a deep dive because I didn't know too much. I know there was some news articles of the incident, and we've touched on some other incidents up in the area. We're talking particularly southern Humboldt, but you know, uh, when we talk the Emerald Triangle, you got to include those other counties, and we have been. So we'll take a look here. Let's see. Wanted to pull something up really quick, and this just to get certain people up to speed that may not have any idea what we're talking about here. And actually, we've shared this several times, and this is Hulu has this documentary called Sasquatch, of all things. And we know that Bigfoot's a thing up there, up north, out in the Sierras, out east, and there's other things that happen up that way. We've talked about them. But this, this it's like a little pointer for those that don't know. You could check this out, and it'll kind of give you a little insight on some of the things happening up that way. So I guess a recommendation. And I've seen this, I've seen it through, and I thought it was pretty interesting. But this is, it focuses on close to our area there. So this is of Mendocino County, but it's weird. In southern Humboldt, eventually we have a borderline with northern Mendocino there. So the counties kind of blend in certain areas. And speaking of Sasquatch, there's another documentary also that touches on the whole thing that we've talked about a lot, and some of you may have seen it. And I'll call that documentary. So this one's Sasquatch on Hulu. And the other documentary, I'll refer to it as, we could call it Eminem. And I'll just so I don't have to say the whole word. I don't know how, YouTube, you never know. Don't want to poke the bear too much. And if anyone does check out Aesop's album, keep a really close ear out to some of the lyrics he uses. It touches on a lot of things we talk about and we refer to. So just thought I'd put that out there. Yeah, there's a lyric we talked about. He was talking about casting footprints and stuff. There's another album where he mentions about bringing back a dead Yeti on the roof rack. And I'm sure he meant that in all good means. All right, so we're going to get into an article. This was a situation that had happened after we moved out of the area. There was other situations that had happened when we were living in the area, and that's when they produced some of these documentaries. And it was weird at the time. I had no idea they were filming in our area. I never seen, cameras out or anything, but we were obviously finding out that these incidences were happening throughout the years. We get, word, and there's sites like this, Redheaded Black Belt that we checked out, and Lost Coast Outpost for information that goes on around the counties and Northern California. So we knew things were happening, and it was an interesting time to be up there. It always is. And so I was gonna play a little clip from this other Eminem documentary. It's that M Mountain, and some of you will know what I'm referring to. Yeah, here we go. Here's my mountain. And there's a particular clip in and I think I'm not sure if we played this. You never know. I'm I forget things sometimes, but this clip that we're gonna play was of the chase of a particular suspect. And actually the suspect I know he's too bad he's in prison now because of some things he did, and he was actually like one of the main focuses in this other documentary. And yeah, I got to work with the dude, and so I know him. I would consider him a friend, but it's too bad he got wrapped up in this stuff. And let's see here. This clip, they're after him. They're up on the hills. There had been sightings of him several times, and there was things happening. So he I believe, had stolen a car, and he was giving them some high speed chases up on the hill, the sheriffs, which is very, very rare. But there was one recently. It does happen up that way. There's some famous ones. I'll tell you one really quick. A guy leaving Southern Humboldt on a motorcycle with a backpack, and I heard it, through locals. And that the backpack was full of money and opened up on the highway, and that there was money flowing all over the place. Yeah, one of those Humboldt County stories there. You hear stuff like that. Wow. So yeah, this particular clip they're looking for, and the guy's name is Zach, and he's a local. And it's interesting how they describe the way he moves out in those hills out there. Here we go. So it's you can see the channel name there, and that's the name of the documentary also. But I don't know if that's I don't think it's an official channel of theirs, but you could find more clips of it on that channel, or just check out the doc. I'm not big on the Hulu and Netflix and all that. Yeah, here it goes. Oh, we need some audio.
The suspect was in Alder Point. Myself and a team of deputies were able to locate Mr. Harrison. He was in a stolen vehicle, fled from the vehicle.
Forgot to pop the big screen for y'all right there. Sorry about that.
We had a search team on scene. He was able to scale down a steep cliff. Didn't actually see him enter the water, but found his clothing nearby. We had assumed that he had entered the water.
Fucking, he runs off down to the river, tears his clothes off, jumps in the.
I wonder if this guy, I've never seen Homeboy, but I'm wondering if he's a real local. Sure as heck looks like it.
River. They had the helicopters flying up there. That kid, though, he's from here. And the reason he stripped his clothes off, because he knows about that thermal shit. He coats himself in mud, fucking turns into a fucking Sasquatch and dips on him. It's his nature. Whatever.
The suspect.
Yeah, so little clip. So that's our area there. And so a lot of incidences over the years. We could begin getting into some. And so this one popped up the other day, and I mentioned we had moved out by this time, and but we happened to be in the area. We had moved up to the northern part of the county, so we're staying in town. But a family member of ours actually lived a little further down the road from us. There was a country store there, and it was a little past the country store, and he needed a house sitter and someone to take care of the dogs. And at that time, I remember it was there was some snow out, and it was pretty cold. And yeah, so we were able to take care of the house and the dogs while I believe he had gone on a vacation. And I forget how I went, but we had eventually, we stayed for a few days, and then had gotten word that something had happened, and not far on the hill there. And it was this particular situation with a rancher we had heard. And it was still, we weren't fully sure what had happened, and we just knew something was going on, and it was just a little weird. And then little by little we started finding out what had possibly happened. And so yeah, we got word, and then eventually I seen an article, I believe it was on Redheaded Black Belt, and that was several years back. And yesterday, looking into what was going on up north, I see a post, and it was covering this particular case we're talking about. And we'll take a look at that here. I shared it in the post also. It was just a pic. There's the site, and we'll take a look right quick. And so it says, justice for a rancher. The Drury family pushes for action in unsolved deep of the family patriarch named suspect. And here, we do a little reading here right quick. So, more than 4 years after 85-year-old rancher Richard Dick Drury was found in the head on his own property near the Humboldt-Mendocino County line. His family continues to push for charges against the man they believe is responsible. So yeah, I didn't know that, they had, I guess, a suspect. Um how do you say that? Septuagenarian? It's a tough one to pronounce there. Michael Lindsay Bragg Drury, whose family has ranched the rugged terrain of southern Humboldt and northern Mendocino since the 1860s, was found in his blue 2010 Ford Explorer on January 26, 2021, near near Bell Springs Road, just north of Duggan Mill Road. According to the Humboldt County Sheriff Office, deputies located an elderly male with a gun, or I should have beeped out both of that, right? Could we say that? Dang it. We're trying here. Victim inside on the land he had cared for since he became a man. So, super local, grew up there, and was in his 80s. And it says, the shocked the southern Humboldt community and devastated a family deeply rooted in the region's history. And then it's, suspect named by family. And so you could get into this part of the article if you're interested. Not sure if you check this out, Juliana, or if you've been keeping up with this here or anyone from the area. Sometimes we have Mike. I know Michael moved out of Fortuna, but I look at him as local. So we have some locals that do tap in. But yeah, and then here's remembering Dick Drury as well. And so yeah, really sad case there, situation. And I wanted to, I shared before actually. There's been clips. So when we were living there, we had at points a little situation with the cows. Some of you may remember. I was posting videos at the time too, and it was kind of funny, but at the same time not. But yeah, we would have these free ranging cows, black cows, that would come on into the property, and at some point they started really ripping things up everywhere, like even the ground. They leave holes in the ground and stuff, and you could really twist an ankle. And yeah, they were getting into the garden, the veggie garden, even up all the way to the point like the cows were almost coming inside of the house at some points. It was crazy. And the dog, we featured the dog recently. We were showing that Kim Kemp, the lady that runs Redheaded Black Belt, had lost her McNabb dog. And the McNabb comes from a ranch in Mendocino County where they breed these dogs. And we had somehow gotten a hold of one of these McNabbs. And so I was like, oh, wow. Like, I totally get probably why it took, because they're high energy. We showed a little clip of Samson, our old McNabb. And I actually got another little clip. And they're like, yeah, these small little dogs. Samson was black and white and just super high energy, really hard to control, and was driving my other dog, which was a much older dog, a hill dog. And I could tell that she was just annoyed with him, but luckily she didn't snap and like, really mess him up or anything. She does not get along with other dogs, but super sweet with kids and people. Cool people. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know if Kim, hopefully you find your McNabb. And I think its name was Dave. There goes Samson again.
Meat Circus. New member team here. old dog ain't really having it. So I've been introducing him. And we're working it out.
Oh, Samson.
This little
Got a
guy
funny-
is just too playful. He's just bouncing off everything. Seems like a little pup.
Yeah, it became too much for us. So we had to find Samson a new home, but that's the McNabb there. And I've talked about the Pyrenees. I fell in love with the Pyrenees and would love to get the couple of Pyrenees one day. Got to live with them, and yeah, those are amazing dogs to have if you have the space and could care for them for sure, because they're huge and yeah. What's your favorite type of dog? What kind of dogs you got? All right. So yeah, so also we had this situation with the cows come in and everything, and come to find out they were Dick's cows. So the man that we were just reading about there, the rancher, yeah. And so it became a thing where they started getting into the neighbor's place, and they were just all over, which they were allowed to because they were free. You're allowed to free range your cows out there, which I'm all for. So we had to build like fences at the time and get the post pounder and pounding in stakes and stuff, right? Eventually, we had to also rent a post pounder. That makes things a lot easier. Definitely a two-man job, but yeah, we threw up our fence, and we could only at the time we could only get like a pretty sturdy like deer fencing. It definitely wasn't gonna keep like cows out. I want to say there might have been a bull here and there a couple few times too, kind of creepy. But yeah, we'd wrangle them up with the dogs too, shoo them away, chase them, and it was fun at times. Interesting. But at other times, when they were really destructive, it was annoying and it was devastating. And so it hurt too. And so the neighbors, we, you know, put the word out and stuff. We're trying to figure out what we could do, and there was even talks of like trying to process one called Bobo. Yeah, James Bobo Fay from Finding Bigfoot. Yeah, he knows a lot of people in the area too. He knows actually probably all these people we're mentioning. Um, yeah, so I talked to him about it, and he was asking me stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, they got tags and this and that," and some of them did, some of them didn't, and we're just trying to figure out the best thing we could do. And eventually, we uh got a hold of the neighbor, and he had sent a lady out with a pack of dogs and stuff to wrangle them up, and they loaded them up to their horse trailer or their trailers, and they did that several times. So and so that was that. But yeah, it kept happening. And one day one of our neighbors ran in to the rancher, and yeah, they had a talk and everything. And I think at the time, I don't know if they were joking or not, but he was just like, yeah, just with them, do away with them, whatever. He didn't care. And so that was that. And but yeah, no, we never got to harvest the cow or anything like that. We just kind of dealt with it, and yeah, it was just a interesting time with all that. But then yeah, not too long after we move, and then we go to house, and then this happens, and it was just like, whoa, like what happened there. And so I was just like tripping out. And the cousin's house is not far at all from where this happened. I mean, not far. um and so yeah, now we got some more information on that whole situation there. And it's just one of those things, that happens up there, and it happens everywhere, but that's a, yeah, close one. It's want to say that's pretty close, to home. And there's other ones that, like I say, have been close to home too. People got their stories, and it's Wild West stuff there, man. And it's just how things roll. But like I say, I love it up there. I would be up there in a heartbeat if I could. What else we got? So we were touching also on the recent cases started getting into the whole sobering coincidence, missing 411 phenomenon, the smiley face killers and all that. Whoops, said the K word. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with that whole thing. We talked about the pusher also in the UK, where a lot of young gay men leaving clubs, drinking, a night of drinking, are found in these canals along in Manchester. And in other areas of Europe, similar phenomenon happening. Here locally, we brought up Lisa Lamb, the Lisa Lamb case over at the Cecil, which is these cases of people ending up in water. And a lot of times they won't test to see if there's water in the lungs. And I guess in certain instances they have and noticed that there wasn't water in the lungs. So the question comes up, how did they really pass? Because they didn't drown, but they're in the water. And sometimes they're in water. They'll be missing for a certain amount of time, and they're found in water. And it seems like they were just in water maybe a few days, not the amount of time they were missing. So the question comes up, where were they? And so different little things that happen like this in certain cases that leads David Politis to think that this is some sort of strange phenomenon, which I believe it possibly could be. Seems weird as heck. Like, how are these people getting? Because another weird thing is that in certain cases they found traces of GHB. And for those that don't know, GHB is they call it the date drug. And I actually had pulled something up on it. Here we go. I got it right away, right there. Cool. Thank you for that. And here's Better Health channel. And it breaks down GHB there. And it seems pretty scary to me. I would not dabble with this stuff. But I guess it's very similar. They sounds like almost similar to like alcohol in a way or something like that. Everclear or something like that. I'll do a little reading here. It says summary. GHB is a party drug that produces feelings of euphoria, confidence, relaxation, and sociability. Side effects of GHB can include drowsiness, vomiting, mood swings, dependence, as well as more serious symptoms of unconsciousness and respiratory collapse, leading to coma or, in extreme cases, death. The risk of overdose increase when GHB is combined with other drugs such as alcohol, benzos, and opioids. GHB is often known as a liquid ecstasy or blue nitro. GHB is usually swallowed or sometimes injected or inserted. Whoa. Yeah, where did I hear something about like using socks or something like that? Wild stuff. That's right, Hillbilly. You dropping links? I see someone dropping links there. What up, Tyler 420? Cheers, bro. Light it up in the chat. We are rolling here down the stream. Glad you could join us. And Thank you, everybody, for hanging out here. Let's get a little more music going. So yeah, in some cases, I believe they have found GHB, and it says that it gets out of your system quick too. So that's why they like to use it for these certain things. And if you scroll down here on this page, there's a lot more information on it, like how is GHB used, and all that. Some clickable links there. And here you can see a list of stuff, also relaxation, sociability, euphoria, lack of inhibition, increased sex drive, heightened sensitivity to touch, dizziness, vomiting, tremors, tunnel vision, loss of coordination, confusion, irritation, agitation, hallucinations, blackouts, memory lapse, seizures, coma, respiratory arrest. Not good. And so scary stuff. And so yeah, these cases were happening throughout especially the Midwest, but they were getting them in New York as well. And then there was these detectives in New York, Detective Duarte and Gannon, who were on these smiley face cases, because in certain cases they were finding the theme of smiley faces being nearby some of the scenes. And we're doing a recap of yesterday's stream before it crashed, just to kind of give some people an idea of where we're going with this. And so yeah, the sobering coincidence, they call it, right? And actually, I have that book. We're showing Politis's book on the topic. And so recently, out of Nashville, Tennessee, I guess there's been a couple cases now. One recent one, I think Politis mentioned that he's not fully sure if it's. I think he said it makes the 411 case, because there was the guy's wallet was missing, I think, and it's his Apple Watch. So it seemed like maybe he was robbed of his things. Which I think, I mean, even if it is some sort of weird entity, ET or some other paranormal thing, that they could take those things as well, right? And so one case happened a few months back. I think it might have been actually last year. And it's Riley, I think Riley Strain, what is his name? We'll pull up a little news article just to look at, refresh everyone, or to show people that haven't been aware of this case. But let's see, I wanted to also mention this other. So like the GHB, this other actually substance comes to mind. Not sure if anyone's ever heard of it, but it's out of Colombia, I believe. And they call it the devil's breath, scopolamina. And yeah, very much, like, I want to say they use it for very similar stuff, also to like take advantage of people. And here's an article on it, and I thought I would bring this up because just like the GHB, I believe this stuff is like hard to detect, and yeah, it will really put you in a trance. And it's I guess easily administered. It could be easily administered, and just small amounts too. It takes very small amounts. And so here we could read, scopolamine typically only used for one medical reason other than its illicit consumption. The drug has been used to help ease nausea or vomiting, leading to its main use by scuba divers as a remedy to seasickness, like Dramamine, or motion sickness. Other than that, scopolamine has become more popular in areas such as Colombia for illegal use. It says it comes from a nightshade there. And so yeah, scary stuff. And that could be another thing that, they say so the medical examiners or coroners or whatever aren't or they don't test for a lot of things. There's certain things that they test for, and they say that GHB is not one of them. So you have to like request that, I guess. And so I wonder, in those weird cases like that, if there isn't GHB, which does, they say burn out of the body quick, could one of these other substances be also being used? Who knows? But anyway, that came to mind with these types of cases, and boom. So yeah, we showed an article out of Eureka, California, still Humboldt County. It was also out of Redheaded Black Belt, and it was of let's see here. Is that not? Here we go. So this was just a few days ago, and it was one night, 5 victims suspected drink tampering at Eureka Bar. And again, those bars were a lot of times where these cases are happening in the city. There's usually water sources nearby, like a river, creek, or some sort of water source where these people end up. I've heard some gnarly ones where it'll be like some sort of plant, like a facility, water treatment plant and stuff like that. And people will somehow end up, and it's secured, there's gates and security and all that. And they somehow still end up inside of these bodies of water somehow. It's like, how did they get through the security? How did they get into these weird, and some have been really strange, like in sewers and weird, like a septic tank I've even heard before. Yeah, strange stuff. There's just been a couple of those recently. Um, yeah, it's almost like yeah, they're being zapped back into this dimension and just put in water for some reason. We hear about water being like a conductor for portals and stuff like that. Could it be something, highly strange like that? It makes me wonder. I think about it. Or is it just, people being in on this? Is it the traffic stuff? I don't know. That does come to mind as well. Because there was a good investigation done by Paranormal Files, big channel, big YouTube channel, paranormal channel there. And they went on scene, I believe it was in Wisconsin, where a lot of these cases have happened. And they did their investigations. Really good investigation, really thorough, I thought. And they're pretty thorough about most of their stuff, I think. And so, yeah, they went on site to some of the bars where I think a particular case happened. They also went to the river where they were found in and everything. And then they also do during their investigations, I mentioned paranormal, they use their gadgets and different methods of connecting with possible energy, spirits, entities that may be in the area, and that could possibly give them more insight on what may have happened or what may be going on in these cases. So super fascinating, I thought, and a good job on their end. I think. Some may not like that channel or what they're doing there, but yeah, so they get into it, and it just gave me the vibe almost of like that the town was in on it. So could it be like, that, I don't know, the bartender and security and the guy across the street, and I don't know, but that is a scary, scary thought. We talked about the trapped doors at bars, like up in Oregon. I've heard about leading to underground facilities that were used back in the day for certain people and stuff like that. Also, in this article, it gets into detail here on some of the symptoms and the happenings during this night for these 5 people. And one particular part I highlight, I didn't read the whole article yesterday, but one particular part I highlighted that stood out to me, it jumped out at me because, in the missing 411 phenomenon, one of the themes is, or could be, is that the people go missing without shoes. And one particular lady here was describing her symptoms and everything. And you could see here, says, it's a quote, "I pretty much don't remember anything else at all," she said. She was later found by Lewis shoeless, right? So for whatever reason, the lady took off her shoes, which is one of those things we talk about in the 411 topic. And yeah, could that be, the we mentioned also the paradoxical, how do you call it? Paradoxical undressing, is it? Hopefully said that correctly. Where people undress like in cold temperatures and stuff like that. Uh could it be something along those lines? And a lot of times these people, when they're found in the rivers, it'll be freezing cold. It's like in winter sometimes, and in these areas where they're known for cold weather. And so I was just like, ooh. And then so Eureka, I was thinking, I don't know exactly. I think they mentioned 707 bar. I don't know if I remember that bar exactly, but I have been to several bars in Eureka. So I know a few of them pretty good. But a lot of and especially in Old Town, you actually have Humboldt Bay that's right there at that end of Old Town there. So a big water source, and then of course you have the ocean to one side, and then there's other water sources not far from the area as well. I believe north of there you have the town of Arcata, where Humboldt State University, or which is now Humboldt Poly, is. So you got a college town, which is another thing with these cases. Is a lot of them are in these college towns. And so I was just uh curious. I was like, well, someone's out there spiking drinks. And of course, I always keep these things in mind. I was like, you know what? Eureka has quite a bit of water sources around there. And I actually remembered of a few cases thinking back uh throughout the years of some people being found in the bay. And I was like, ooh, you know what? Let me check this out. And I also remembered that last year there was one. I believe there was a lady that was pulled out of Humboldt Bay there. And then off the top, I also remember in Arcata there was actually it made the 411 cases, missing 411. There's the marsh. So there's the Arcata Marsh, and there was these guys that were camping there, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's a normal place. I don't even think you're allowed to camp there. But these guys, and it could be that these guys were traveling. A lot of people were moving through the area at the time, um, and maybe they decided to camp there. But I believe the guy was French, and 3 guys camping there. And I don't know if they were partying or what, that does come to mind. Maybe there's drinking or anyway. So the guy somehow ends up missing. And then I don't know, I think he might have been missing for more than a week or so. And his parents come out and they can't find him. And eventually his dad, is in the search and everything too. His dad ends up finding him in some brushes. It was weird. It's like, you would think that the searchers would make the discovery, but no, it was a dad. And so super sad situation there. And it was like, what happened? And I don't think the marsh is all that deep. And so we'll pull that case up too. But I wanted to look at these other cases, particularly around the Humboldt Bay that I was able to find. So we'll get into that. And what up, Grantavius Maximus? Which reminds me, turn the music up. I think the music kind of helps. A little music in the background doesn't sound all dead in the back. Just in case I have to download some files. You got a little something to listen to there. But hope you're doing well, Grantavius. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see, Hillbilly Herb. And excuse me for not tapping into the chat. Just trying to keep this flow going. So first case we'll pull up. Let's see if we could do this. And I want to make sure that I don't miss anything else here. So we're going to head up to Humboldt Bay, and then I should pull up. We're going to try this without crashing the stream here. Let's pull up the Google Earth right quick. Give folks an idea of the area. And it was super rad that Google Earth. So I was able to zoom in a little there to give you all a view. You can see where our little pin is there. That's Eureka, California. And I kept this little side thing that pops up. You can see that beautiful Victorian house. And yeah, a lot of Victorian houses in those small towns, especially, Eureka, Arcata, got them Victorians. Yeah, you can still get them. But this particular one is let's see, it's a particular mansion, the Carson Mansion. Let's see, Eureka is a port city in Northern California. Its Old Town district features elaborate Victorian houses, such as the nearby Carson Mansion. Sequoia Park Zoo is home to pandas. And they got the red pandas there. I've seen the red pandas before. Yes, I went to the zoo. And let's see if they mention it here. Home to pandas and primates, and features a walk-through aviary. Next to the zoo, Sequoia Park is home to the massive old-growth redwood trees. Let's see, guided boat cruises aboard the early 1900s. What is it? Madaket ferry take in the sights. Seals and bird life of Humboldt Bay. So I was reading also that the Sequoia Park Zoo is the oldest zoo in California. So I want to fact check that. I was like, what? Really? I would have thought maybe LA Zoo or something. But Sequoia Park Zoo. Could it be the oldest? Trippy. So here we could try and zoom in a little more, but I'm sure you could make out the bay there. And you can see Highway 101 cruising through there as well. And then right above that, you can see the Arcata Bay. And yeah, I've lived in, I guess you could say, Bayside. Yeah, there's a little. I would say Arcata, but technically, I guess you could say it's Bayside. And yeah, so you have that case there. I looked for any cases in the Arcata Bay, and I'm still doing some digging there, but we'll and then further up, there's some other fresh water sources as well that we mentioned. We're talking about the lagoons, and further up is Trinidad as well, where I had my road cross Bigfoot sighting at. Let's see, I can't drag it there. Whoops, there we go.